Let's hear it for Dr. Sello Halani, master percussionist, recording artist, and scholar of music and all things cultural. He is drumming for peace on Africa Day. Happy Africa Day, everybody. And thanks for joining us at this Silence in the Guns drumming for Africa Day by ZACR. We are coming to you live from Isivivani. Isivivani is part of the Freedom Park Monument, a heritage monument in Pretoria, South Africa. Thanks for joining us for this. You remember the hashtag drumming to silence the guns, hashtag Africa Day 2021. And please tag at silencing_guns and keep on getting the conversation out there. Hashtag drumming to silence the guns and hashtag Africa Day 2021. And that special drumming, I repeat, was by recording artist Dr. Sello Halani from Isivivani at Freedom Park Heritage in Pretoria, South Africa. My name is Victor Homweswana, and we are here for the next hour or so. We're going to be talking about something related to ICT because ZACR is an agency in the information and technology space. And we're going to ask Dr. Sello Halani later on to join us on the panel because this year is also the Year of the Arts by the African Union. So he's going to be sharing with us some of the insights. But let me just give a quick background to why we're here. And before we do that, let's acknowledge our hosts at Freedom Park, represented here by the head for public participation, Mujajima Gwela, and with him is Victor Netsavi, who is the chief curator at the Freedom Park Heritage Memorial. And we are here courtesy of ZACR, ZA Central Registry, represented here by none other than the CEO, Mr. Lucky Masilela, who's with us on the panel here. He's also the CEO of Registry Africa. And joining us on the panel as well will be the chairman of the Public Sector ICT Forum. And his name is Mandla Mkwanazi. He's to my left. But we are joined by lots of other people here. Unfortunately, the Deputy Minister for Communications and Digital Technologies, Honorable Pinky Kegana, couldn't be with us. She has a family emergency. So is Dr. Situmo Mohapi from Dimension Data. But we are going to have a wonderful panel discussion here. The topic or the theme, we are asking a simple question. How well South Africa has optimized the use of technologies, ICT, information communication technology, to sustain service delivery during COVID. How well has South Africa optimized the use of information and communications technology, ICT, to sustain service delivery during the COVID lockdown, which has been with us now for 14 months? And what lessons can we get from what happened or did not happen and take them into the future? So you can tag drumming to silence the gun, hashtag drumming to silence the gun as you join the conversation, and hashtag Africa Day 2021. We also are paying tribute to the 150th anniversary of the birth of another icon, another African icon, Charlotte Makgomo Maxeke, who is known for her contribution to education. Charlotte Maxeke is known as the first African woman to get a degree, and she got it from the US, being taught by none other than W.E.B. Du Bois, an African icon of all time. And she's gonna be the theme as declared by the Minister of Arts, Mr. Natim Teto, Honorable Natim Teto. But we are also talking about drumming to silence the guns in line with the theme of the Africa Agenda 2063 as announced by the African Union. You know that one of the flagship projects is silencing the guns. There are many countries that are still ravaged by violence, even as we speak. So drumming, as done ably by Dr. Sello Halani, was to silence the guns. We want everybody to imagine where the sound of guns can be replaced by the sound of drums. And this thing started last year. It was the theme for last year's Africa Day, also by ZACR and Registry Africa. We brought Dr. Sello Halani with a wonderful ensemble to the very venue that we are coming to you from, Freedom Park in South Africa, to drum to silence the guns. Let's hope that as symbolic as this gesture is, it will reverberate all across Africa, all across the world, to make sure that violence is replaced by music. So Dr. Silohalan, when you are busy, please come and join us here. And I always like to be educated by your knowledge of this. You're not waffle. You're a scholar of this. So please join us here. Although you'll be talking with us later, but join us. I'll give you the mic. I just like to watch your collection of the art, of the drums and the percussions. All right, so let's get started, and let's start with the host with the most, Datela Kimasilela. How well has South Africa optimized the use of ICT in sustaining service delivery during the COVID, and what lessons do you believe we can take forward?
Thank you, Victor, and I want to thank our hosts for making this thing possible, the celebration. Africa Day is not just any other day, it's an important day in our calendar. I think for us as a continent is where we take stock of us as a continent, where we are and where we've come from and where we intend to go to. And I also want to thank our colleague percussionist, Dr. Khalane, and Nobabu Mkwanas. Banbiza batini ba Mkwanas, awuzwa Shamas. Thank you so much. Now, when we address the issues of Africa Day, I think they are very broad. And however, today we decided to narrow them down to ICT, taking stock of what South Africa has done. Not necessarily are we decoupling South Africa or pulling South Africa out of the rest of the continent, but we are just enabling ourselves to narrow on issues that are pertinent to South Africa, which could also be mirrored across the rest of the continent. What have we done with ICT? Now, we have done a lot of innovation as a country. We had a lot of plans that we have laid off and built over the years. Many years ago, when we were talking about the harness, when we were talking about the smart card, integrating, coming up with a card that will enable for you to have your ID and social security services all in one. We then said we need to connect the whole country digitally. We came up with a concept of SA Connect. We mobilized, we got everybody ready for this.
SA Connect, so when President Ramaphosa was talking about SA Connect in his State of the Nation address, it wasn't a new concept.
It's an old concept that we've been building, and we wanted to get it running and to be rolled out to connect hospitals, to connect libraries, to connect all your public services across the country, across the region. And remember, these are building blocks. You take your smart card, you connect it with your library, you connect it with social services, and all of this, it's an ecosystem. And it required multiple players and multiple systems that had to be built. So the last thing that we needed also when we were discussing the issue of digital migration. Now, digital migration, we were looking to migrate onto a certain spectrum to enable for our GSM operators to access that space, to provision a better, connectivity. And we had to move TV, and that has taken too long. We haven't benefited on the digital dividend. So these are some of the challenges that we have and the opportunities. Whilst we have seen them as challenges, they still remain opportunities for service delivery for our people, even not only for COVID and beyond. These are the things that we need to take advantage of.
What I'm hearing you say is the policies have always been there. We've always understood what needs to be done, but we are coming up short when it comes to implementation.
Spot on. The policies have been crafted. We sat with a white paper that needed to be put into an act to get people to debate sufficiently so that we are not going to be regulating technology that is already ahead of us. So that becomes one of the challenges. We wait too long on policy development and getting our acts in place. For example, our ICT Act, it is regulating, probably is behind time, if you think about it. Technology is already ahead. We are talking 5G. When we were having our ICT policies being crafted, we were still thinking of 3G and 4G. And when we came to the issues of other avenues of connectivity, we said we will allow for that to be considered and regulated at the later stage. Issues of Wi-Fi, how it can be harnessed and how it can be enriched as a service tool. Issues of your TV white space, how can it be used to be enhanced and used as a delivery, of service. And moving away from certain debates which have cluttered the ICT space. And what is this debate? Whereby the services that we are getting today are not necessarily services that were built by the traditional infrastructure builders, your Telkom, your Vodacom. But we are getting services, we are streaming today. We are using somebody's infrastructure, somebody's hardware. It is not regulated how to move content, but people are already there using certain platforms to carry content, to move content, to feed on content. Our phones today have moved so far that they are content developers. We use our phones to communicate through COVID. We use our phones to register the CEOs to go and get their COVID test, But if you look at the act, it is not there. So we need to be not evolve, but a revolutionary, not only leapfrogging. We need to pole vault as a nation. Leapfrog is in the past. We need to pole vault.
All right, pole vaulting is quite a skill, it's a slalom, I might add. But is it unique to South Africa, the reality that even the regulations seem to be behind technology? Is it something peculiar to South Africa or Africa?
It is not peculiar to South Africa, but it's peculiar to Africa. Now, when we do not get your researchers, your developers and policymakers functioning in unison, you will always have this gap, this disconnect. In the first world, your telcos, your researchers, your users, they are always in sync. They can know in advance that 5G is coming, and these are the requirements, these are the spectrum, these are the frequencies that we need to be releasing. And already